Oh, and we are live.
Hi.
Hello, Stream Queens
Hello.
Con. Welcome to Now That's What I Call Video Game Music. I am your lovely moderator for this panel at Caricature. I'm a gender fluid fashion illustrator, drag content creator, member of Team Stream Queens, as is everyone else in this panel, the Draws Play Queen of Twitch, and a very avid video game music fanatic. So let's just go around and keep it moving and do little intros for everybody else. So, Chalora, take us away.
I always gotta go first. Hi, my name's Chalora. I'm a trans drag artist from Canada. I play a wide variety of games on my channel, including a ton of retro, new age, a lot of console. I'm stupid.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, LMD, your turn.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Lady Mega Danger. We do a lot of retro stuff. We do a lot of Saturn stuff, bad games. We watch silent films. Check it out.
All right, Kyoshi.
Hi, I'm Kiyoshi Yorha, pansexual drag artist here on Twitch. Twitch's drag investigator. And we're just doing the whole thing, or is it just
Go for it.
I stream puzzle, detective, and point and click games at twitch.tv/Kiyoshi Yorha, and I go by any pronouns. Ding.
Okay, Cherry.
I'm Miss Cherry Hart, your variety drag queen streamer from Melbourne, Australia. I stream a lot of variety games, but mainly I'm trying to focus back on JRPGs, like Final Fantasy, Persona, really getting back to my roots, I guess you could say. Hey.
Love to see that. And Nemesis.
Hi everybody, I'm Nemesis. I run the network on my channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I am Twitch's exclusive non-binary Bat Stall. We play a lot of retro games. I am focusing on a lot on Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, GameCube. So if you want to go over there, hang out with some retro music, you can find me over there.
Alrighty, so I'm so excited for this discussion because I am such a nerd for video game music, as I'm sure everybody is. We're all here for this. And this is like a conversation topic I could go on for hours about, easily. So we're just gonna jump right in. Before we get into questions and open discussion about things, just some like umbrella terms and some shorthand things that we're gonna be discussing throughout. If any of us use some acronyms like VGM or OST. VGM is shorthand for video game music, just to like save on time because there's 6 of us and we have an hour. OST, original soundtrack. We might, I at least will be touching on things like adaptive music as well, which is a video game music technique where music and sound design are adapted, obviously, and they change based on player choices and player interactions and what's going on in the game at the time. And we might end up touching on some like music theory things as well. I'll try not to go too like down that rabbit hole, but if we do bring things up, mostly things like time signature or dynamic changes, stuff like that. Time signature is essentially a composition thing when it comes to how music is written and composed, and it is structured based on how many beats are in one measure of that written version of the song and what structure of note gets that beat. And there's a lot of different ones out there. Some are really common, some are really weird, and depending on how they're used can really change the way a music's tone can be perceived. So, first question for the floor. What about video game music do we all enjoy so much? Is it things like the sound fonts of the consoles, the instrumentation used in particular tracks? Is it a nostalgia factor thing that makes us like certain things so much? The floor is open.
I would like to say, the music is a really big thing that I enjoy. I think like there is like sound fonts, which is like sound effects and stuff, right? I think those are music in particular is really good because it really does set the mood for a lot of games, especially when it just obviously moves the mood of the game and stuff. Oh my god, I feel like I just described the same thing with the same words. I'm so sorry. But yeah, no, music is a really big thing, and that's what I definitely look for. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. I think that's basically it.
Can I please?
Go for it.
So I think just in general, I know that music is obviously a big part of our lives. So in terms of creating video games and film, just anything in general, it can really amp up what is being taken to a certain place. I know if a video game without music was being made and had the same effect with music playing, it's obviously going to be very different. And same thing for film, same thing for X, Y, and Z. So I think that's very important. It can definitely take you to a place of definitely being immersed in what environment you're in. I know like Nintendo games love to have like a happy, peppy kind of vibe, and then like Dark Souls games and stuff, it's more of like a opera, like dramatic, like kind of thing going on. So I think it's definitely important in that aspect. And in terms of nostalgia, like you mentioned, I know some of us here are retro gamers, and I am just obsessed with unique music that you can remember, and it takes you back to that special place. So I think that's also very important. Those are my takes on that.
I wanted to
I'll go
add to
next.
that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, okay. I just wanted to add to that about like the nostalgia factor. Like, to me, that's what it's about. Nostalgia and going back to like what something sounded like in a different place and time. And so, like, I always listen to retro stuff, and I just want to share this. Like, I have the soundtrack to Comix Zone on Genesis on vinyl, and it's like listening to it it's like, I don't know what it is about the Genesis like sound chip. Like that's what games fucking sounded like. That's what they fucking sounded like, right? It's so wild to think about. And so for me, it's like I love nostalgia and going back to like older stuff and seeing what they had to do with what they had and seeing like how they like use different tricks to make it happen. And that kind of echoes today with like how compositions work out and how people are always trying to push the envelope and stuff. So yeah, nostalgia.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that for me, like video game music kind of, it takes me to the game and I can experience the game without having to play the entire thing. And I feel like it definitely creates like a setting or a mood or an atmosphere. When you're first hearing it, obviously you have the visuals, happening all around you. And then the audio sort of kicks in and you're like, it's telling you an entire story, like 360, as opposed to, even if it's a two-dimensional world. And so when I listen to it and I'm not playing the game, I feel like it kind of brings back that like world that you're in. You hear the Bayonetta song and you're like, ooh, I'm that kick-ass bitch right now. Ooh, let me go. Let's go. And it has an effect on people. But I also really like the nostalgia factor. But what's funny about like nostalgia factor type music or sounds, in my opinion, is like I always think of what Pokemon sounded like in the first gen. You've got Nidoking going, and it's like if some Gen Z heard that today, they'd be like, "What the hell is that?" They would be so lost. They'd be like, "This is just garbage, mama." So I just think it's super funny and interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cherry, do you have anything to add?
I don't know, to come after Chalora's performance with that. No, for me, with like video game music, I think it's down to nostalgia for me, because I used to grow up playing games when I was younger. I played like Sonic, so like for me, especially that very first world you go into and you hear that music, you're like, okay, I'm here. I know exactly where I am, what level I'm on. The music literally just takes you there, and it's quite amazing. Yeah. Even when like going towards maybe the mid 2000s, where if he's even just starting the game in the main menu, the music is there already. You don't have to enter the game. The game is already introducing you to the game before you even start it. Like you go into the main menu and the music's just, you can hear the intro music, and it's like this, they're trying to get you to go in a bit further and explore the worlds even further and hear more music as you go through. It's definitely a nostalgia fix for me. It's definitely
and
emotional too.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, I mean, it's something that all 6 of us have in common. It's like we all have that like retro upbringing, and like we all have that appreciation for retro games, in whatever franchises or genres that we really enjoy. For me personally, I enjoy music because of how it can be used to help characterize a world, characterize a character, but also just like how it can be woven into to change the narrative experience of a game and impact how you consume it as media. So I love it all for stuff like that. Like level and dungeon themes, like Zelda dungeon themes in particular, are like my bread and butter. I listen to them constantly. Like N64, GameCube era music too. And I think like kind of going off of what LMD was saying too about like how the retro has like this very specific sound that like, I mean, for me at least, because I listen to so much of it, it's pretty easy for me to listen to a track and to at least be able to identify like what generation it's from, what console it was on, even what franchise it's from. And just seeing how technology back then was so limited and they were still able to do so much in a way that we still recognize these songs and these themes 30 years later for some of these. I think it's really impressive. I guess moving on to our next question, kind of segueing into that. But I listen to video game music more than I listen really to anything else, in all honesty. So are there any OSTs or particular tracks that you go back to a lot that you really enjoy, that you think are just like chef's kiss classics that can't ever go wrong? Anyone
Whoever wants to go
start?
first?
I think you're nominating yourself.
I guess I will. I think my personal favorite will always be Kingdom Hearts. Like, I'm a Kingdom Hearts
No.
girl. Go figure. I know. But from the very first game, even to the current games, like every single song has a purpose and a meaning around certain characters or a certain world. Yoko Shimomura, who's done all of the games, has orchestrated all the music. I'll always go back and listen to it every single time. It just sort of like, if I'm ever feeling sad or down, I can just listen to it and just like, oh, I'm starting to, feel a bit better about myself. It's just nice. And of course, Utari Hikaru made
Absolutely.
the soundtrack to some 3 of her best songs in the whole entire franchise. Like, honestly, it's great. I always listen to it all the time. Oh god, I'm getting emotional thinking about it, honestly. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I love
Anyway.
Yoko Shimomura's work so much. Like easily one of my favorite composers for
Yeah.
game soundtracks.
She did a fighting game before that. I think it was like Street Fighter before she did Kingdom Hearts, and that was the only other one that she did before she started on main games.
Yeah, because she
Like,
did Parasite
in the
Eve
noughties?
too.
Yeah. Like, it's interesting how she's gone from one, like how composers go from one project to the next. You can sort of hear their sound as they go through each process. Like, it's really cool. You can hear their sound in the music too.
The execution was simple and clean.
It
What
was
do you mean, Shalora? What do you mean?
it was very
I caught the
it
door.
was very
Confused.
sanctuary.
Does anyone mind if I share my piece?
Go ahead. Yeah, you can go forward.
I was just thinking about it before answering this question, but I don't know if anybody remembers, and still to this day, a lot of games, their music is so good that a lot of franchises, they transfer their music and original soundtracks into rhythm games. I don't know if anybody's noticed that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of rhythm games in video games, and I love them. Like, I know Kingdom Hearts has one now. I know Persona has an amazing 3 games. Awesome. Like, that's what I was going to say when you asked what music do you listen to. I have it on Spotify. I have every song from Persona 3, 4, and 5 Dancing All Night all on my Spotify. That music is so good.
All
Like,
bops.
and it's amazing.
The dancing
I
remixes
know-
are so good.
I know. The remixes, everything. It's just amazing. How can you not listen
Yeah.
to it? I know Mario even had one. There was a Mario dancing game back on the GameCube. There was a Donkey
Really?
Kong one.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
if you think about it, a lot of games have rhythm games because the music in their games are so good. I thought it was a good point to bring up.
I I cycle between a lot of games when I listen to OSTs. Persona 5 is definitely one of the first ones, and it's only one particular one for the most part, and that is Beneath the Mask, and specifically the Rain edition.
Yes.
And just playing that on repeat or for like
Mhm.
the hour edition, because that one in particular just calms me down. It's just so chill and vibey, and I don't know. I just feel like safe. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. And
Do you
then
also want to like hear a cat like screaming at you to go to bed later on?
you know what's? Yeah, I actually do. And unfortunately, I have no control over that. But
No.
you know, besides
No,
the point, they're there. Other than Persona 5, a lot of Zelda music I kind of go back into.
Ooh, yeah.
And Celeste. Celeste is definitely one of the OSTs I definitely circle around. Yeah.
For me, I listen to a lot of Chrono Cross music from the original soundtrack. It's so good. I listen to nonstop pretty much almost every day. Final Fantasy 9, 10, 10-2, some part of that soundtrack. And for a long time, I was listening to Persona 4. Because I found that soundtrack was really, really good. Particularly, like, I think it was Heartbeat, or is it Heartbreak? I don't remember.
Heartbreak.
Or is it both?
Heartbreak.
Yeah.
I
think
love
so.
that song.
It's too short. I want it longer.
Oh,
I know the
Um,
choreo too from the rhythm game.
I'd say for me, I Nintendo is another big one. Like, there's a YouTube channel where it's like a 24/7 Nintendo music radio, and the amount of hours that I have spent with that on while working on stuff, unfounded. Like, I've like got to the point where like I like to play a game out of it where like I'm not watching the screen, and then like the song starts and I see how fast I can identify it, and if I'm right, and usually I am, which is fun to like mess with my parents if I'm doing it upstairs. But also, same composer as Celeste, Chicory, the Stream Queens Con Game of the Year that we awarded earlier today, has a soundtrack.
Wow.
I personally think it is Lena Raine's best work. But probably Ancient Evil off of that soundtrack is one I listen to a lot. Monster is another one. They sound much more like the Celeste sound font and musical style than a lot of the rest of the soundtrack, which is a little more orchestrated. Boggly Woods as well, my background from today, from Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, really ethereal, like just nice chill, like spacey vibes. But yeah, before we move on to LMD, did you have any additions?
Sure. Yeah, I listen to a lot of. I love the Outrun soundtrack, the arcade game. I listened to that one a lot. Panzer Dragoon, a lot of Sega stuff. My number one genre on Spotify Wrapped was Sega. I didn't know that counted as a genre. So I listen to a lot of Sega stuff. I go back to two soundtracks by the same composer. I think it's Stefan Peak. He doesn't do stuff anymore, but he did the soundtracks to Lost Eden, which is like this point-and-click game, and Dune, a spice opera. And they're really like conceptual and weird and like otherworldly, and like he has it. Like, we're gonna talk about composers later, but he did a lot of like organic sounds for the first time in electronic music and video game music, like sighs and breaths and shit like that. And it was in the 90s, so it's cool to go back to like a different time to listen to what he thought of like a different time back then. And that's really cool. So I do stuff like that, but I've been vibing to Gran Turismo. Nobody told me Gran Turismo had amazing music, and I've been vibing to Gran Turismo lately. So that's what I got going in the old noggin.
Oh, we love to see it. I'd love to hear it.
I do want to point one more thing. I think I haven't touched it too much, but there was one time I touched Doom, and Doom has a really good OST as well.
Yes.
And when I was really angry at one point, I was like, let me throw this on because I heard it, and that really helped like relieve that anger.
Like that hardcore rock is just like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
Just
Like-
like yeah.
I've never played Doom 2016, but I've seen enough gameplay of like the opening parts in particular, and I think the way that they've implemented the music into the opening segments of the game is a great example of adaptive music, and it's done so well, sets the mood perfectly. Oh, it's so good. But kind of again, LMD provided us a really nice segue about composers, which leads us to our next question here about obviously that musics in games would be nothing without the composers behind them writing these OSTs that we still love and adore to this day. So who are a couple of all of your favorites?
I guess I could go first because I hate to be that person, but I'm not really that well versed in a lot of composers. But I know that the people that make Genshin Impact, they do everything in house, and they've actually done concerts and shows of like their live streams of all of the orchestra doing an amazing job of making the music together, and I think it's really beautiful.
Mhm.
That's all I can really say on it. But I know a lot of stuff that I love that I really haven't dived into in terms of that. But I know for one that when Genshin does their live streams, they do an amazing, beautiful orchestra, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, the music is stunning. See, Chilora, how about you?
I'm really sorry. This was like the one part I was like, I was like reading the list of questions and I was like, oh no. Oh no. I only don't know Uematsu. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Well, he was on my list. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nobuo Uematsu,
I mean,
he did so much
how
for
could they
Final
not be?
Fantasy. Honestly, like, truly, I think, like, Nobuo Uematsu, Yoko Shimomura, Koji Kondo are,
Mhm.
like, the top people in game music, in my opinion. Like, I'm personally a big fan of Uematsu's work for The Last Story, which is this really underrated game for the Wii, and the soundtrack on it is impeccable. But yeah, so like, I'm obviously like, we talked about Persona music. Ryoto Kazuka does all of those soundtracks. Also does mainline Shin Megami Tensei. So if you're playing SMT,
Shin Megami Tensei is so good sounding
Oh.
too. The new one, it's perfect. The way that it goes from like one spot to the next.
yes, there's
well done, yeah.
I had a little fangirl moment while playing 5 on stream. I don't know if you've gotten to like the fairy forest. Fairy
No,
wood.
not yet.
Oh,
I'm struggling in the game.
There's a really cool moment where there's like a musical shift that happens based on kind of you changing your physical location in that part of the map, and it is so immersive and oh, it's so good.
Okay, I'm going to have to play through the game so I can get to that part now.
Yeah.
I did double check and I was like, because I was like, oh, I know another composer, but do they compose for games? And they do, because Ni no Kuni is a game. So Joe Hisaishi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah.
I can start crying.
So good. Obviously, not obviously, maybe you don't know, but they composed the music for a lot of the Hayao Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli movies, and they also went on board for Ni no Kuni. But I just think they're excellent. I don't know. I think it's incredible that these composers can just come out with these songs
Mhm.
constantly, and it's just these huge orchestral pieces, and it's just like holy crack-a-moly, like what do you, how do you like jeepers,
Yeah.
they just keep going.
And like that's how I personally kind of feel in the same way with Koji Kondo, because like you look at Ocarina of Time, those really iconic songs that you learn in both Ocarina and Majora's Mask only use 5 notes. And it was all based on a technical limitation that he was given. And they're like, okay, you can use these 5 buttons, figure out multiple songs. And there's like 20 that are all written based on these same 5 notes that are all combined in different patterns and ways. And they're all like really iconic earworms in video game music too that we all recognize the second we hear them.
I wanna-
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to say that whoever composes the music for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask is definitely one of my favorites for
Yeah.
sure. Because those songs, even the songs you play, the opening sequence, the ending sequence. Oh my god, I cried for the ending sequence for Ocarina of Time. That composer did a really good job at like making memorable sounds and or music, and yeah, they really just stuck around with me. So it's that composer and Lena Rain as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
So my favorites.
she's got some really iconic work, and like we stand some lovely trans excellence. Um, yeah, Lena Raine has done stuff for Minecraft as well as of late, and a few other different games. I think she did some stuff for, I want to say Warhammer, but
Wow.
but like her music really runs the gamut for what she does, and everything is like really synthesized, small basis, and so talented for what she does.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
anyone else?
I just wanted to mention, I don't know who does the music for Baby Park and Mario Kart, but they need an award because that song goes off. I could listen to that for days on end. Like, whoever you are, thank you for that. Just putting that out there.
I have it in my head now.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I wanted to
Ellen
say that I love like who is Jeremy Soule? He does like Elder Scrolls and all that stuff. It's so fantastical and magical and amazing. And I love Grant Kirkhope, who does Banjo Kazooie, and it's all bouncy and whimsical and happy, and it can get really sad and shit. And he does a lot of adaptive music. But I gotta say, I love Hideki Naganuma, the funky uncle, right? Understand the concept of love. He's I don't know what he's doing, but I don't want him to stop. It's so good.
What was it? Because he did Jet Set Radio, correct?
Jet Set Radio.
Oh,
Have you seen the new game that's sort of like a spiritual successor?
I want to play. I haven't played it. I haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, I remember reading an interview a while ago where he said if Sega doesn't make another Jet Set game, somebody else will. And now we have Bomb Rush Cyberpunk coming out soon, and he's doing the soundtrack for it. So I'm so
There you go.
excited.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Before we move on as well, I did also want to bring up one of my other favorites, Tomohiro Nishiura, who did the entire soundtrack for the entire Professor Layton series on the DS. It's all like set in Europe, and so it has like an accordion in most of it. You sound like you're like walking through France half the time when you're in London, but or some other like small little European village. And he's done interviews where he said that like the second he was brought on to do the soundtrack for these games, he was like, I'm using an accordion in this soundtrack. That's a given. And he also wanted the games to sound like what you would imagine like a European picture book to feel like musically. And I think he captures it so well. And the music in that franchise is like top of line, super chill, really cute. So another one I highly recommend listening to if you don't already.
Yoshi? Put her hands up.
Yeah.
Toby Fox as well.
Yeah.
Love their music.
Yeah, the Undertale soundtrack. I mean, I think it's impressive alone that like Toby Fox does everything by himself for Undertale. And I know he's like brought on some people for Deltarune as well to help with music, like Lena Raine is part of that crew. But the fact that he makes these themes like Spider Dance, I think is a really iconic one. Death by Glamour is like my favorite off of that soundtrack. Also Megalomania.
Yeah.
Just like themes that just really stick around within gamer culture. Going on to our next question, gaming as a medium has a really unique relationship with music that other forms of media, like film or television, don't really capture because of the innate interactive quality that goes into that. So, I would love to talk about moments that we have experienced playing games where that interactivity and the experience of playing the game was amplified or made more important or more special to us because of the music in that particular moment.
I hope this is the right answer to this question. But my answer is sort of like a long term as opposed to like instant. Like I do feel like there are games where the music's happening and then like it sort of like responds to something happening right away in the moment. And for those, like I don't know, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But and I kept trying to think of one all week, I swear to God. But it is super effective, and it really hits you hard when it's just like it's happening right now, you know. But for me, what I had thought of was Final Fantasy IX soundtrack. Like it has the same theme throughout the entire game, and it just sort of changes in a lot of the different songs, and you know, it changes through your experience. That changes throughout the plot, and then at the end of the game, it's the same soundtrack again, but it just they, you know, it comes back around in this stronger, soppier, you know, sort of way, and you're just like, I just want to sob, and then it throws it back at you again with the credits with another version, which has lyrics, and it's I don't know, it's one of my favorite songs of all time, and it just anytime you hear any of those tracks, you know exactly where it's from, but also like it's reminiscent of all the parts, which I think, and it doesn't sound identical. So I think that sounds, you know, it helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only other thing that I could think of, sorry, one second.
That's right. I was about to think of something just then. I'll wait for you.
Fire Emblem. I originally played Blazing Blade on the GBA, and I don't remember the name of that track, but when you talk to a new character to recruit them, it goes from this sort of it's a different kind of epic, whereas like because you know they're in this for sort of medieval warfare type game, and you're you know in battle or doing whatever, and or sometimes it's kind of a jolly one, I don't know, whatever, but you recruit this character and it's suddenly like, you know, it's like super exciting and super hype, and like I don't know, I could listen to it like for so long, and it's just like you're excited and you suddenly know that you're recruiting a character, and no matter what part of the game you're in, if you're at the end, if you're at the beginning, you're always excited every single time. So I think that really hits really hard. Cherry.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for that lovely speech. So like for me, whenever I'm going to talk about Kingdom Hearts, guys, this is what's going to happen. So for me, there's always the one theme that gets me through is Roxas's theme, and like in Kingdom Hearts 2, when you first see him as Sora and you're versing him. This is a big spoilers, by the way. And as you are versing him, his theme will progress like it will start soft and it'll get very, very, very hard. So it'll get very like the music will get more and more intense towards the end, and you're trying to beat him. And he's so hard, and when you finally beat him, the music just cuts, like doesn't cut off, but slowly fades away, like as if you've finally defeated something that's been working so hard. And then as you go through the next few games, you hear the same theme again when it comes to certain other characters. And every single time that I see Axel on screen, which is another character, big red hair, one of my favorites, every single time that he comes on screen, it's always Roxas's theme, because that was his friend from throughout the whole entire game. Every single time you see Axel, you hear Roxas's theme in the background, and I just start bawling. I start crying. I'm like, no, don't make me cry, because I know that it's just all an emotional roller coaster. So for me, that song in particular has always brought moments for me to an emotional level, like a deep sense of I connect with the characters because of the songs and the music, and because that's the relationship they've shared. Also, I will be talking about Final Fantasy 13. The music in that game, especially from like this very beginning, I never really played a Final Fantasy game before. Like, I think it was my first ever one I ever played. So for me, the opening soundtrack in the title menu, just a piano, nothing else. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm just like, oh, I'm connected. That was a big move for me because that was my first ever Final Fantasy game. And then as I played the game, you hear the same theme over and over again, but it changes depending on what's happening at the time, who the character is, and I love that game. I know some people don't like it, but I like it. Just based on the music alone, it really carried me through.
The music's the only thing I like about that game.
Yeah, yeah. The story, it's a bit, but the music is good though. It's yeah.
Carries
The second one's even better though with the music too. But yeah, but I would like to play Final Fantasy X too, so I can experience that music. I've never played it yet.
Oh gosh,
I've
the music
heard
in that game is drag.
I have heard that it's very, very, very gay, and
So gay.
I can't wait to play it. Hopefully next year I'll plan to put it in and I'll play it.
What can I
played the
do for
first
you?
one.
Truly.
I played the first one. I'm like, everyone's like, you should play 10 too. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I'm playing it soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Anyone else? Do you
Yeah.
have any that you would like to discuss or bring up?
I do.
Go for it.
So I'm gonna bring up Celeste one more time. That's definitely the one, the main game I'm focusing on because that really was the first game I ever actually decided on my own to play, and it was like actually relatively simple for the most part to play. So I was able to actually focus on the music way more. And one thing I like, there's like 2 instances where it really like hit me, actually maybe like 3, where you're in some sort of like abandoned facility or something, and you're just going about it, and you go through it, then you find this mirror, and then things happen, and then the music that was initially in that abandoned building section now changes once you go through like this portal, and then it's the same, but it is actually there's like slight differences, and it makes it seem like it's like in a different world or realm, but everything still looks the same. But there's new mechanics that are introduced that you end up finding on your own, and then that's just like, just knowing that when I'm hearing that, I know that these mechanics are now in there now, which I found really cool. And then another instance is when Madeline goes and fights. This is spoilers as well for for Celeste. Madeline ends up going to fight themselves. And their evil side for the most part, and the music for that just it's I need to play it real quick on my end. It just sounds like really intense, and it makes you want to like fight, to go after yourself. You're not necessarily fighting in the story. The way the dialogue is, you're actually chasing after them to help them, and the music behind chasing them makes it sound like it's them. It's the other person. It's your other self that it's like saying, no, fuck you, go away. I don't want your help. And then once you actually form together, there's one final song that actually like motivates you to achieve your goals and to climb up the summit. And that's like one of the big things on that. Music is powerful. Music is power.
Dang, Kyoshi, I gotta play Celeste.
It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played it because it's really difficult, and I know I'll get stressed out playing it, but the soundtrack is amazing.
But that's fine.
I wanted to talk about well, 2 things in particular. I think about like Age of Empires, when like you're building like an army, and like every time you click, it like makes a little drum beat and like
Yeah.
like in sync. You're like, oh yeah. And then you go to war and you build an army and everything gets quiet and you hear the hawk, and then it dun dun dun, and you're like, fuck yeah, it's time. But one I want to talk about, like the real moment that I thought about when I read this question. First time I played Chrono Trigger, and minor spoilers for like the first fifth of the game. You're going through time. A lot of spoilers this set.
We're just pushing our earphones further in.
So you're going through time, like looking for somebody, right? And you're at the world map. You're at the same map, the same area, but you're back in time, and everybody's like sick, and everybody's scared, and everybody's sad, and like there's fog everywhere, and you can't tell if it's like early morning or late at night. And I remember like curling up with my blanket, like in high school, like, oh shit, like what the fuck? This is wild. And then you get to the world map, and every song up to this point has been this big orchestral hit after banger after banger after banger. And you get to the world map, and it's this song called Memories of Green. I mean, we're not talking about the wind theme. It's Memories of Green. And it's this really delicate like piano.
Mm-hmm.
And it's accompanied by this little like, I don't know, like a clarinet or a bassoon. I don't know. And then it's just like this little melody. And I just sat there and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Right. It's like one of those moments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just listened to it. And it's the Chrono Trigger theme slowed down and rearranged. And it's the first time where the game is telling you, like, literally and metaphorically, like, take your time. Like, just, you have all the time in the world. Just, it's okay. And every time I get to that part of the game, it's like when you go into, like, a room in a game when you were a kid because you want to like, listen to that sound, right? Like the Windmill Hut and Ocarina of Time. Like, oh, yeah, right? I do that every time. Like 10 years later, every single time. And it's, I don't know. Memories of Green, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
I know for me, like in particular with streaming, I've had a couple of really significant experiences with music. So one was like the Mass Effect, the Galaxy map theme. The first time you open that, and it's just like you've heard like some good music up to that point, but then you just hear this like ethereal, like, again, I guess I just like ethereal spacey music because I keep bringing it up, but
it's a banger.
But yeah, like it just feels expansive, and you just see the galaxies unfold in front of you, and you can see all these places you can go to, all these planets you can visit, these aliens that you get to meet, problems you get to solve, all that stuff. But I just remember like opening it for the first time, being like, oh my gosh, this theme, like. It tells you perfectly what you're getting into, that you're getting into a massive story set in space that is just really dynamic and amazing. My other one is Last Voyage from Spiritfarer, which is another indie that I love, the first game I ever streamed. And it's the song that specifically plays when you are saying goodbye to the spirits on your boat. And you're getting like the conclusion of their storylines. And them like coming to terms with dying and like knowing like this is the end, this is where we say goodbye, and then like you hug them and they turn into a constellation. And the first time I had it happen, I didn't know what to expect. It was my second stream and I lost it. And then I lost it again later on and lost it again when the game ended, because the way that the music is implemented into that game, it's so effective, and it hits all of like the emotional points that it needs to. I also wrote down Gruntilda's Lair from Banjo-Kazooie, which I know was like a complete 180, but I think that's another really great example, especially of adaptive music and vertical remixing and vertical tracking, which is like Grant Kirkhope's big thing, especially at that time, of taking one consistent theme, but it dynamically changes instrumentation and style and tempo and sound effects, like solely based on what part of that entire hub world you're in. And it's so effective. Like you go to the area outside of Treasure Trove Cove, and it's like kind of a beachy version of Gruntilda's theme, still with the witch cackle, but like tropical. She's on vacay. So like stuff like that, like I love.
So you'd say it had a mass effect on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Laura, please.
the only other thing before I send it over to Nem that I just remembered was I know a lot of people didn't play it, but there's a game called Puppeteer. And in that game, it's sort of like this. It's always on a stage, like at a theater, because all the characters are puppets. And it's so creative and well designed, but they throw a lot of musical theater in there. And every time you're fighting like a boss or something, there's almost always like a narrator talking about what you're doing. And he never says that you're hitting, or like he waits on that dialogue and those sound effects hitting and smashing within the orchestral like piece only when you're actually hitting the boss, which is super cool, I think, for like a game and for music. Like, how do you mix that in, like with tempo and everything like that? So they did a really amazing job with that. No.
Can I please share my favorite?
Yeah.
I should get a microphone.
Just for 1 second.
I like Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, I like when I log into Club Penguin. I like that song. No, but in seriousness, I have a couple of games that I really love. I'm just gonna try to make this quick, but I think Nier Automata and Nier Replicant have an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else in the call, maybe
Loved
specifically
it.
Yorha in this call, love that game. But I love those games. The music in that is chef's kiss. Another one, losing my train of thought because I had so many. I know Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword. Like in Skyward Sword, there's the Silent Trials, and the Silent Trials are like this ghostly place you go. It's literally like the middle of, what do you call the middle of heaven and hell? Or
It's like a purgatory state.
Purgatory, yes,
Yeah.
that's the word. So the music is very like woo, and like it's very atmospheric. It's very amazing. Skyward Sword's one of my favorites, and then Wind Waker. On top of that, Wind Waker is resolved. I know a lot of Zelda games are resolved around music, like they revolve around it. Resolved, whatever the word is. But they are very like music centric. So, but I think Wind Waker has some amazing music in there. Like every time you play the instruments you do, and then it goes into a full piece, and it's just so authentic and amazing. I had another one, but I'm just gonna move on. I can't think of it.
Alrighty. So I know we still have, I think, roughly 10 minutes left or so. But I do also want to mention, hold on. Where did I put it? There it is. Going back to Zelda for a second.
I'm holding on.
Going back to Ocarina of Time, I think another really interesting moment that I could never really place why I took it in so intensely as a kid, listening to it while my dad played Ocarina of Time, and I just sat and watched because I was too scared to play it, was the boss fight with Ganondorf. And I specifically found this out through a YouTube creator named 8-Bit Music Theory. So if you are a music fan or a music composition nut or just a music theory person or want to know like the history of music in gaming, he is a great resource for that. Really informative videos, really interesting topics. But I found this video specifically about this boss fight theme, and the reason why it works so successfully is because it's written in a 23/8 time signature. And obviously, like, that's not a multiple of 8, so you don't get, like, a natural sense of resolution in the music. So it is written in a way that just when you think, like, it should end that musical phrase, it doesn't. And it creates this, like, really unnatural tension, which I think from a writing perspective is absolute genius. So, like, the fact that it's such a weird time signature, but implemented so well is amazing. But before we move on to, I guess that is it I wanted to say before we move on to the last question. And I feel like this is a fun little question to kind of end things on in a way. One that we can kind of have some discussions about, I guess, if you want to list multiple. Because we're all drag performers, we've all done digital shows, we've all been performers, in whether it's on Twitch or IRL. But there's a lot of really great songs in video games that I think would be amazing for drag numbers. So, if you had to pick at least one song from a video game soundtrack to do a lip sync performance to, whether IRL or digitally, what would you perhaps choose?
Baby Park.
Just lip sync all the little instrumental.
Racing around the audience, that'd be funny.
Yeah. That's a good tip and number. You're like, ooh, da, 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 da.
Yeah. Get them coins.
Realistically, the one that comes to my head is Pauline's Jump Up Superstar from Mario Odyssey.
Mhm.
I think that's a good number. I think it calls for a reveal. I think it's a good thing. I would love to perform it. A good on-stage little ballad, upbeat number. I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to my head. But, yeah.
Yes, anyone else?
I would either do, or maybe I'll do both. ¿Por qué no los dos? I would probably do Melodies of Life from Final Fantasy IX. That's like my husband and I's song. And I don't know, I used to sing it all the time when I was really sad. Just, I don't know. I really relate to Final Fantasy IX, so like the whole thing encapsulated together sort of, I don't know, and I feel like that's, you know, we talked about it, but that's what video game music does. Or I would do, there's these remixes I found of Persona 3 and Persona 4 music. I think it says they're by Cores K. I don't know if that's the right remix person, but you can find them on YouTube. There's a whole playlist. They're really, really good, and that's probably what I would do.
Yeah. Anyone else? Initial ideas?
I would like to lip sync Every Day is Great at Your Juness.
Oh.
Persona 4. I just lip sync the whole like theme song.
I wanted to mention that the entire panel. I've been like, everything is great.
At your
Yes.
genius.
Yep.
And that's it. And then I just leave and I take my money and go home. 9
That's it,
seconds
you're out.
done. Yeah, I'm just gone.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I'm gonna be typical here. I'm just gonna be doing either Sanctuary or Simple
Kingdom
and
Hearts?
Clean. But yeah. I didn't want to mention it because I feel like I mentioned it for like 50 billion times.
Maybe once or twice.
I don't think you haven't actually.
Yeah, I don't
Have you ever
think
played a
mention
Hearts
again.
game? I think you should play one.
But yeah, so I've heard, but I do like the Simple and Clean Ray of Light remix that came out when I think it was 2.8 that came out, I think, or 2.5 or something like that. It was during the promos for that game, and I really love that remix. And I thought that's pretty poppy, it's pretty light-hearted, so it'd be easier to perform, and then maybe add some like lip syncable moments from the game inside, like something Aqua sort of says or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. Because I'm typical, so.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Kyoshi or LMD?
I would
LMD, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I have 3 choices right now, or 3 ideas. I would do Fly Me to the Moon, both the Doris Day version and the Bayonetta version, like a mashup or something.
Yes!
The
Would you
theme
do the stripper
tonight.
pole?
What?
The stripper pole version
From the credits?
from the credits?
Yeah. And then, if not that, I would do like the theme to Nights, which is this very like Disney kind of sing along, kind of whatever. It's really cheesy. And if not that, I would do probably like a Sonic butt rock song.
Mhm.
Ooh.
What rock?
Butt rock.
Butt
You never heard
rock.
of butt rock?
Butt?
Butt rock. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's really
wow.
cracked.
Yeah. It's like
What?
I thought Shalora was going to say something.
Don't be cheeky.
Can we wrap it up?
that's
I
it. Butt rock. That's
Cut
all
the
I'm going
panel.
on.
Cut the
Oh.
cameras. Dead eyes.
Yeah, Kyoshi, do you have any ideas for what you would do?
I'm probably gonna go in the route of Persona. I would like to do Beneath the Mask, but I do want to do like I would do like a mashup of having that song in the beginning but then also find like I was gonna say the Australian C word version. I want to try
Don't
something
say
like
it.
that. I don't think I've seen it, but I would like to do that. Or Last Surprise, I think is what it's called from
Mhm.
Persona 5.
David, oh no, that's Persona 4.
So one of those. And then for comedic effect and maybe a little bit of realism, I would do Imagine Dragons Champions probably.
Mm-hmm.
I say I know this is not video game music, but the soundtrack from Arcane also slaps and would also be
my
great
God.
for drag.
I forgot to mention League of Legends music because like KDA is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jinx, Vi.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, get a collective, do Dynasties and Dystopia. Like, I love that song. Playground would be great as well. But I think for me, if I had to pick songs from video games, I would either do the theme from Metal Gear Solid 4 Snake Eater, because that song is ridiculous. It's like this big James Bond style song that talks about eating a tree frog. And the lyrics in it are kind of bonkers, but it's so bombastic and ridiculous that I think it would be fun to just do like a really fierce like James Bond film moment. I think that. I also think for indie game representation, Paradise from Paradise Killer is a really, really, really great song as well. Like Devil Trigger from DMC5 or Devil May Cry 5 is another really great theme. There's so many that are just great that I think would work. Obviously, the opening theme to Final Fantasy X-2, it's right there.
That's something you can do for me.
Would you like
Exactly.
two backup dancers? Like, would you like the other two?
Exactly. But I do bring this all up because I will have more information over on my Twitter after this, because I just wanted to casually announce here, first and foremost, exclusively, and I've invited everyone on this panel to be a part of this, but in early 2022, I will be hosting my very first digital drag show over on my channel, twitch.tv/caricature, called Press Start, which will be featuring exclusively songs from video games. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so fun. And I cannot wait. Also, we are running low on time, so let's go through and where can we find everybody? Rapid fire. Chalora.
I'll try to say this in 1,000 words or less. I'm Shlora. I'm a really radical dreamer. I could only get two in there.
Please, Lord, we gotta wrap it up.
That's it. That's all, Diva. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's LMD.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm Lady Mega Danger. All one word, everywhere. Check me out.
Amazing. Kyoshi.
I'm Kiyoshi Yorha, pansexual drag artist here on Twitch. Drag investigator of Twitch, actually. You can find me on all social medias with Kiyoshi Yorha all together. And yeah, music is power.
Oh my gosh. Jerry.
So you can find me at everywhere at Ms. Cherry Heart, so MS Cherry Heart anywhere. You can just search up my name, Ms. Cherry Heart. You can also find me behind the dumpster, behind the McDonald's. I'll be waiting with a big gulp, so if you want to find me, I'll be there.
The Maccas
The Maccas, yeah, the Maccas.
in the Arvo.
Yeah. No.
And Nem.
You can find me everywhere. Nemesis LaCroix, like the drink, bubbly what the hell is it? I don't know. Anyways,
It's
but
the Qua, darling. The Qua.
LaCroix.
LaCroix.
I didn't get it from that. Don't ask why. Nemesis LaCroix everywhere, and then on Twitch, Nemesis Network, because I run the network there every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or whatever fucking schedule I'm on. So hey.
All right. Thank you all so much for being part of this panel. Once again, I've been Caricature. You can find me at twitch.tv/caricature, Instagram, TikTok, same thing, Kara_Couture on Twitter. This has been an absolute dream and a delight. And happy Stream Queens Con!
Bye.
Stay tuned.
Kara, do this too.
Bye.
Bye.
I did my arm.